All right, guys. Sorry about the issues on that last live stream. When injustice becomes law, resistance becomes duty. And injustice is exactly what Bernie Sanders is trying to foist on the American people. And it does nobody any good when you're going to have a Joe Rogan up here not challenging the ideologies of a Bernie Sanders ever. It's never going to help out. So let me just jump right into this. I'm going to turn this camera around. We're going to have to do it this way because I'm more comfortable in this element. So this is and actually, you know what? I was thinking about this as far as um, copyright strikes that might be issued from the Joe Rogan experience, which he loves giving copyright strikes. He loves going through YouTube to do that. He does not like his he doesn't like his content to be shared. So this might work out well because I'm going through a medium to go through a medium. Can you guys see that okay? I think I've conquered my, yeah, we're back. Can you hear me all right? Let me just get some feedback here just to make sure I'm not, hey, what's up, hacking the headlines? Appreciate you being in here. You're crying, but you'll trust me. I'm not asking anybody to trust me. Just, you know, okay, cool. Video and audio 100%. All right, good deal. Here is the Joe Rogan Experience 1330 with Bernie Sanders. It's got 9.6 million views. It was uploaded, as you can see right here, on August 6, 2019. So it's been out for a little over a month. This is a popular podcast for Joe Rogan. He doesn't have he gets high views, but a 9 million, almost 10 million view count in a month is pretty good. And if you look at the like versus dislike ratio, look at that. He's only got a 10% dislike ratio, which is alarming to me. That tells me that people are super, super ignorant on what's going on and super ignorant about what they talked about and super ignorant on how Joe Rogan handled this whole situation. And when I say ignorant, guys, I'm not meaning stupid because you can be ignorant of a lot of things and not be stupid. Now, there may be people that are stupid that are liking this video and they did it out of stupidity, but I believe that most people did it out of ignorance because they really don't know what to look for. And the bottom line thing to this whole issue is, and what we're just gonna play, we're just gonna go through this 13-minute clip, try to go as fast as we can. I've got to stop it a couple more times than I'm used to because, like I said, Joe Rogan, the JRE, Joe Rogan Experience likes to do community guideline, I mean copyright strikes. But this is the one entitled Joe asked Bernie Sanders, "Is there a solution to mass shootings?" And of course, you can probably guess what Bernie Sanders is going to. Joe Rogan will always side with the left. I don't know. I've seen him challenge some people, but he does not challenge Bernie Sanders here. That's not a spoiler alert. You really got to hear how he does it. So, without any further ado, let me just make sure everything's going good. I'm going to play part of this. I'm going to play 5 seconds. Let me know if you can hear the audio from my computer just before I go on.
Now, right now, we are.
Okay, can you guys hear that? Thumbs up if you can. I don't want to give you bad audio. Yes? Audio sounds great. Okay, cool. Thanks for being with me, guys. We're going to go over Joe Rogan asked Bernie Sanders, "Is there a solution to mass shootings?" So, is there a solution to mass shootings? And if there is a solution to mass shootings, what is it? What is the solution? Number one, you're never going to stop evil people from doing evil things. You're never going to, if somebody wants to murder somebody, they just go ahead and do it. And nobody who murders somebody, nobody who initiates unjust force on peaceful people who haven't done anything wrong, somebody who doesn't deserve to be killed, is in their right mind. They are complete power hungry psychopaths to take the life of somebody else. Completely evil, completely immoral. And anybody who wants to sanction or endorse a law that initiates unjust violence of peaceful people is also evil. As a matter of fact, they're probably more evil because they're actually broad brushing all of society with this law supposedly to make people safe. They're not even being honest with the public. So here we go. Here is the first question from Joe Rogan.
Are a week, not even a week out, just a few days away from two mass shootings in a row. And whenever these things happen, there's all these people that want action, but nobody knows exactly what to do. There's calls for gun control, there's calls for mental health reform, there's calls for, I mean, what, if anything, can be done to stop these things from happening? And how have you sat down and tried to come up with some sort of a solution? And is there a solution?
That's a stupid question because you are not going to stop these things from happening, not with legislation, because you know that the whole tenor of this whole thing is what can politicians do? What can you do, Bernie, to stop these mass shootings? How can you throw your ideas into the bucket, into the congressional bucket and get things working for the government on behalf of the people? That's really the question. That's the springboard that they operate off of. That's how they always do it. They can't. Banning doesn't do anything. Prohibition has never done anything but work in the exact opposite of what they're trying to accomplish. So what's Bernie's answer here about what can we do? Is there a solution to mass shootings?
Look, I would be lying to you if I told you I had a magical answer. I don't. And this is such a horrific situation. We were in, we had a town meeting. We were in Nevada, actually, in Las Vegas, when El Paso happened. And we did a town meeting, and I said, let's take a moment of silence to remember the victims and pray for the survivors. Literally, the next day, in another part of Las Vegas, I had to do it again. And I said, I can't believe that just yesterday we did this, and I have to do it again. This is, I don't know what the words, my friend Beto O'Rourke would say, you don't know what words, what can you say?
If you got a friend who's Beta O'Rourke, your elevator ain't going all the way to the top. I'll say that right now.
Happens again and again. Who can imagine some lunatic walking into a school?
Is Bernie an atheist? I didn't know that. I didn't know Bernie's an atheist, and he's going to stop for a moment of silence and pray. Yeah, who does an atheist pray to?
Or a mall, or just on a nightclub area, taking out an assault weapon and shooting down people. And that we almost become to accept this as a normal part of American life is incredible.
Notice how that's another thing politicians do. We almost come to accept this. Look, he's claiming to speak for the American people, guys. When they try to initiate these universal background checks, they're claiming to speak for the American people when they say 90 or 95% of Americans endorse and support gun control. Universal background checks. Come on, you're not speaking for me, Bernie, and you're not speaking for a whole lot of people out there.
Is just totally demoralizing. All right, so here's what I think. There's no magical answer, but let me tell you what I think. First of all, this is the reality. The reality is that today, as we speak, there are approximately 400 million guns in America today. We have more guns than we have people. We have between 5 to 10 million assault weapons. And an assault weapon, as you know, is a military-style weapon designed to kill human beings.
An assault weapon, as you know, is just a made-up term. There's no such thing as an assault weapon. There's no assault coffee cups. There's no assault water bottles. There's no assault optical mice. There's no assault hammers, assault knives, assault bowling balls. There's no assault fists. Assault, you don't assign assault to an inanimate object. It's not an assault rifle. Thanks for the hey Bones, thanks for the super chat. I will get to those at the very end. So automatically he's coming at you with a term that's a lie. It's completely made up. Yeah, an assault shaker, an assault shaker.
Kind of rapidly. So and then on top of that, we have
on top of that lie, where do we yeah, assault rocks. Nobody's talking about knife violence. Nobody talks about hammer violence. What was that thing that Scott Peterson killed his wife with? Nobody talks about that instrument violence.
Again, nothing to be proud of, but we have a number of mentally unstable people for whatever reason.
And most of them are in Congress. Most of those unstable people are in Congress.
In the streets, they're suicidal, they're homicidal.
Yeah, Wilson says we got to ban assault blunt objects. I want to pull you guys into this, guys. I am reading these comments as we're watching Bernie here. Yeah, car violence. They do call there's something called vehicular homicide, but they don't try to criminalize the vehicle. Never does a politician get up there and say, you know what? There's just way too many traffic deaths. How many people die in traffic deaths every year, guys? It's way more than that 40,000 number they they push out there with the quote unquote gun violence. And of that 40,000 with quote unquote gun violence, 60% are suicides. But you don't see politicians going, you know what, we care so much for humanity, we have to eliminate cars, we have to have a vehicle ban. Nope, they're not doing that because there's an agenda. They want to disempower you.
That's the mix that we have. I think the answer is, and I'm not the guy to invent all these ideas, but here's some of what we have to do. First of all,
some of what we have to do. Some of what we have to do. Necessity is the plea for every infringement of human freedoms. It's the argument of tyrants. It's the creed of slaves. The tyrant says we have to do this. This is something we gotta do. We got to do something. We must do something. And one of those things that we have to do, Bernie, what's one of those things we have to do? You know, we got to take AK-47s and AR-15s and the scary black assault style rifles off the street. That's the first thing we got to do. Well, first of all, you can't take things off the street if they don't exist. There is no such thing as an assault rifle. There's no assault handgun. There's no assault BB gun. There's no assault yard dart. Remember the yard darts? We talked about that the other day. Ridiculous terms. Fictitious. No wonder why Bastiat said the state is that great fiction by which everyone seeks to live at the expense of everyone else. The state is that great fiction, and they make up fictional words and fictional terminology so that they can use euphemisms so that they can expose people's lies and deceive them and get them in their camp. The most immoral, corrupt people, thanks for that super chat. I will deal with those at the end. The most immoral, corrupt people you will ever see on this planet are politicians. They don't call it politics for nothing. Poly meaning many, ticks meaning blood-sucking parasites. There are many blood-sucking parasites, and they just all happen to be in Washington's district criminals. I'm not for building a wall, and I'm not for stealing or extorting money to build a wall, but if you were going to build a wall, make the highest wall you possibly can around Washington's district of criminals. Lock all these people in there and let them just fend for themselves. We don't need them. We don't need Washington's district of criminals. Okay, take it away, Bern. Oh, no. It's not going to go blurry on me again, is it? I should not have turned the camera around. You've got to be kidding me. I took autofocus off, guys, before I did this. Let's see. Okay, maybe if I do this and this again. Oh, there we go. Maybe I just have to reset it or something. All right, here we go. I love clarity. I love clarity. All right, let's go.
If you want to own a gun in America, we have got to know that you are a stable person, and that means
who's we, Bern? If you want to own a gun in America, we, the government, have got to know you're a stable person. We, the insane, immoral psychopaths, have got to know that you are a stable person. That's off the charts ludicrous. We gotta know what you own. So you have to register, you have to check in with us, and you have to get our approval if you want that firearm. We have got to know if you're stable. We, the most unstable people on this planet, doing the most vicious, immoral, unconscionable things, have to know who owns guns. BS.
We need to expand the background checks that currently exist.
We need to expand the background checks that currently exist. What does that equal? That means we, the government, need to spread our net of control over everything so that you cannot buy, you cannot sell, you cannot be a person who's going to sell your rifle to your kid or your handgun to your kid without government involvement, without our approval. Guys, if you need approval, I'm just going to turn this around. If you need approval, then you're either a child or you're an idiot who needs to be in an insane asylum because you're not an adult. Adults don't need approval from other adults. It doesn't work like that. Life doesn't work like that. Bernie has no claim over my life. Bernie has no claim over your life. No politician has any high claim over your life or your property than you. Nobody. Zero. Ain't going to happen. Sorry, Bern. No, I'm not sorry. You ain't going to get him. You're not getting him. Okay, let me do this and then turn it around again. Okay, apparently I got to turn it around twice and then it stays clear. All right. So Bernie wants his hand in your life. He wants his eyes on your life. He wants to make sure that you are a stable person. Nothing could be more disgusting and sick and perverse than a complete, this is a psychopath, guys. Anybody who's going to create a law to try to control other adults, and if those adults don't obey his laws, he's going to initiate what he would call gun violence on them because you didn't obey Bernie's law. Therefore, I'm going to initiate gun violence. Why are you going to do that, Bern? Because we have to eliminate gun violence. We have to eliminate gun violence. Well, how are you going to do that, Bernie? I'm going to create a law that's going to expand the net of government and bring you into it and make you beg me for an approval. You have to beg me. That's psychopathy, guys. That's psychopathy 101. If you look in the definition of a psychopath, a narcissist, it's somebody who wants complete control over somebody else's life. That's what they want. And that's what Bernie wants. And that's what he's calling for here. And anybody, don't let anybody tell you any different. And if you think I'm wrong, let me have it in the chat. If you think I'm wrong about this, about the fact that if somebody's going to create a law where if you break that law, and this in regard to this, it's gun laws, if you buy or own a gun, they say you can't buy or own, or if you sell a gun, they say you can't sell, then you are guilty of a crime. Well, that's false too, because you have no crime where you have no victim. No victim, no crime. You haven't committed a crime because you broke Bernie's law. So if you, according to Bernie, if you own an AR-15 or an AK-47 or an assault-style rifle, if you own the assault-style rifle and these machines, I'm telling you, Joe, these machines are made for killing. No duh. A gun is made for killing. Yeah. When you fling a projectile at 3,500 feet per second, you're going to do some damage if it hits soft tissue. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but that gun is a personal protective piece of equipment in the hands of that grandmother, in the hands of that single mom, or in the hands of that dad who just got outnumbered because 5 armed assailants just entered his house and threatened his family. And you're going to tell me I don't need, like Beto O'Rourke, who needs an AR-15 or an AK-47? I bet you he would change his tune. Maybe not, because they're out to lunch. But it seems like he would change his tune if he was a smart guy, which he's not. If he got stuck in the back room, in the back closet somewhere, and 6 guys came in on him, and he needs those 30 rounds, that 30-round clip. It's a magazine, guys. It's not a clip. I'm just joking. I'm trying to throw you off. He needs that 30-round magazine. He'd be like, oh, crap, 30's not enough. I'm a horrible shot. I suck at this, but I want to defend myself, and I want to defend my family, and heck yeah, I'm glad I have this AR-15, but I only have 30 rounds. People would be singing a different tune, band. I'm telling you, all you have to do is imagine yourself in that situation where you're about to be victimized. Your daughter's about to be raped. Your girlfriend's they're about to flay her skin or whatever. And it's fight or flight. And you want the best possible machine in your hand at that time. And you want to be extremely prepared. And maybe you suck. Maybe you're a horrible shot. You need those 30 rounds in that magazine. And you need additional clips. Kidding, guys. It's a magazine. Clips. Nope. It's a magazine. You need those additional magazines. I got a whole stack of magazines. Come at me. I got it all day. Like Captain America said on Endgame, I can do this all day. Yeah, we know. Beto doesn't want you to do that all day. Beto doesn't even want you to have the equipment. Bernie doesn't want you to defend yourself all day long in the most efficient, effective means possible. Who here has fired an AR-15 or an AK-47? Anybody? If you ever have, you realize that a grandmother can actually shoot that firearm because the recoil is minimal. The recoil is, my little kids were shooting AR-15s when they were, I think it was 6 or 8 years old, very young. My little girl Gracie, she's my youngest daughter. She embarrassed me one day because first time she ever had this gun in her hand. Ding, 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 ding. I was like, oh my gosh. Well, I don't think I'll be shooting today. Gracie, if you're watching this, you remember when he did it. All right. So anyway, Bernie wants to take your guns from you. He wants to take your guns. Yeah, way less than a 12 gauge. Are you kidding me? Way less. So what else you get? What other nuggets of falsehood do you have for us? How deep are you going to lead us through the BS here, Bernie?
Okay, so we've got to know, did you beat up your wife? Have you committed crimes?
That's hilarious. Did you beat up your wife? Now, let me talk about that for a second. When I have to tell you, I listened to this in the gym today when I was working out, and when he got to this, I was like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe he said that." Did you know that if you're law enforcement, you are 40% people who the kind of people that law enforcement attracts are 40% more likely to be domestic abusers. This law right here, if they were going to stay with this law, which they're not, they'll let law enforcement and criminals have the guns because criminals don't obey laws and law enforcers are above the law. Yeah, right. But people who are in law enforcement, the low IQ people they attract, the immoral people they attract, the order followers that they attract statistically, guys, are 40% more likely to be domestic abusers, which would get them out of the running for having a firearm. But they'll be allowed to have it because they have a magical uniform, a magical badge, a magical gun, and somehow magically can tell you that they're with the authority of the state and they can violate their own laws. You can't violate them. We can lie to you, but you can't lie to us. They're power tripping psychopaths relate power tripping psychopaths. And the power tripping psychopaths in Congress and the Senate will give the power tripping psychopaths of law enforcement, which is really policy enforcers because they're not enforcing laws. If a law is truly a law, it doesn't need to be enforced, it just is. These things that men write down on pieces of paper are not laws, they're opinions. And I'll call them laws if you want to, but these laws, these man-made laws, are nothing more, nothing less than the opinions of politicians that backed, every one of them, backed by the threat of force. And that is what makes the state immoral. And that is why I'm against government. But people will call me a conspiracy. Oh, you're one of those anti-government people. You might well say, oh, you're one of those anti-immorality people. You're one of those anti-lie people. You're one of those anti-initiate unjust force on peaceful people. Oh, yeah. Oh, God, this guy is just so out to lunch. He is not for state-sanctioned force and violence. Get away from me, man. You are just checked out. You're out. That's how sick our society is. Our society is so sick that they think that the people that they should follow after and emulate and glorify and lift up, bow down to and obey like brainless order followers of the politicians and the law enforcers. And there couldn't be a more corrupt band of misfits in America or the world than people who are power hungry psychopaths, power tripping psychopaths, drunk on their own power. So drunk on their own power that they put their hand on a Bible and raise their hand toward heaven and promise you that they're going to obey the Second Amendment. Bernie Sanders took that oath. He took the oath as a senator. I promise I will uphold the Constitution of the United States. Part of that, Bernie, is shall not be infringed. And you just gave us two ideas how you're going to just go out there and infringe everybody's rights. Hey, I'm Bernie Sanders. I'm just a horse's ass. But I'll tell you what, I seem awful legitimate because I have a great fancy title by my name and the plaque on my marbled wall in Congress looks terrific. I'm just telling you, it's terrific. Okay, that was a hybrid between Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump. Okay, just a hybrid. Just for you guys. That's a freebie. All right, let's get back to Bernie. Oh, good, we do lose the internet. Oh boy. Babe, do you have the internet? Are you on the internet? Well, okay, so it's saying it's buffering. Shoot. Do you have the internet, babe? Do you have internet?
Yeah.
You have it?
Yeah.
Guys, can you hear me, guys? Can anybody hear me? You can? Wow, I'm locked up. I see you guys chatting, but I can't play this clip. What's up with this? I don't understand this. I have the internet. It's scrolling on my phone. I really want to get to the key part to get to on this is Joe Rogan was saying and what he didn't say, how he didn't defend the Second Amendment. All right, let's see. I refreshed this other screen. Let me refresh this. Yeah, see, it says server not found. What is going on here? Let me see. All right, give me a minute, guys. It says my internet is not connected. What? How can that be? I'm reconnecting, guys. I just refreshed my internet. All right, this says I'm connected. Let's see. I hope this thing doesn't start over. I can't remember what minute mark we're at. Sorry, guys. The internet went down. Let me see. Refresh this. Thanks for hanging out, guys. I lost 70 on that one. Thanks, internet. That was my internet. I don't think that was JTube. Let me see.
But let me tell you what I think. First of all,
we already did that.
We have between 5 to 10 million assault weapons. And an assault weapon, as you know, a number of mentally unstable people for whatever reason are walking the
All right, here we go. Back in the saddle. Here we go.
streets. They're suicidal, they're homicidal. That's the mix that we have. I think the answer is, and I'm not the guy to invent all these ideas, but here's some of what we have to do. First of all, if you want to own a gun in America, we have got to know that you are a stable person, and that means that we need to expand the background checks that currently exist. Okay, so we've got to know: did you beat up your wife?
Okay, so can you see the video? And because somebody just said, I think, can you see and hear the video? Yes. Thanks, Free. Oh, Free Schaefer Cox. Thank you so much for reminding me. Free Schaefer Cox, remind me about Schaefer Cox after this video, because I want to take every opportunity I can to speak for that guy. This guy's in jail. He's been in jail for 8 years, 8+ years, going on 26. He's got a 26-year sentence in basically a maximum security cell, which is ridiculous. He never harmed or threatened to harm anybody. Okay, here we go. Back to Bernie.
Have you committed crimes, etc., etc.?
Have you committed crimes like politicians commit crimes all the time?
What is the state of your mental health? Number two, we got to make that universal. Number two, right now, there is a background check if you walk into a gun show, into a gun shop, but you can buy guns in various states at a gun show, and you don't have to do any of that. If you want to go to a gun show, you sell me a gun, I don't have to, and I don't have to do that. Third of all, I can today legally walk into a gun show.
Legally, you know what legally means? It means with government approval. Legal and illegal. Legality does not equal morality, and illegality does not equal immorality. See, they conflate all this stuff, and they make you believe, and part of this is from the 15,000 hour indoctrination program, guys, the public school government indoctrination program, is they try to equate legality with morality. And if you aren't within the framework of the law, if you've done something illegal, then that equals immoral. If you do things that are legal and you're a nice little boy or a nice little girl and you obey what the government officials say and all the politicians say, then you're a good boy and you're very moral and you get a cookie. You get a cookie from the government. You're so good. Okay, good. Just obey my orders, be an order follower. But if you don't, I'm going to punish you, and I'm going to treat you guys like you're a criminal, even though you haven't left a victim. There's no material victim in your crime. It's a victimless crime. And we were talking about this a little bit on Discord today. There's no such thing as a crime without a victim. There's no such thing as a victimless crime, but then we're forced to use these terms. Like there's a lot of people sitting in jail for victimless crimes. They possessed pot, or they smoked pot, or they solicited the services of a prostitute. These aren't crimes. If you want to pay for sex from a prostitute, this is the land of the free, home of the brave, I thought. If you want some sexually transmitted disease, you should have every right to do that to your own body. Nobody has a right to get in between that transaction. The woman wants your money and you want sex from her. Free world. Do I endorse that kind of behavior and that kind of activity? No, but I'm not going to step in. It's a free. This is the land of the free and the home of the brave, or it isn't. No, we got to make prostitution illegal. Why? Because we want to keep people safe. That's what we want. We gotta ban the AK-47 and the AR-15. Those start right. Why? Because we gotta keep people safe. We don't want more. You don't want more school children to die, do you? Do you? Huh? If you want more school children, then they get you into the false dichotomy. Oh, you don't love children because you want to keep your guns. It couldn't possibly be, no, I want to keep my guns because I love my children. Couldn't possibly be that. It's only this one or it's that one. And if this one, then you hate this one. If it's this one, then you hate that one. It's this false dichotomy, smoke screen, look into my eyes and just believe that what I say is true kind of thing. All right, back to Bernie. Are we good, guys? Everybody good? Hit the thumbs up, folks. Thanks, man, for saying that. Thumbs up really does help, guys, and so does sharing these videos. We're good? Okay, we're all good. Let me do this twice, back, and it should be focused. There we go. I wish I knew that beforehand. God, that would have saved a whole lot of trouble. Here we go. Tell us more oppression, Bernie. Give us more tyranny, Bernie.
Pass the background check and buy a dozen guns. Walk out and sell them to criminal elements who will use them for bad things.
Yeah, and then what's the answer to that? If these quote-unquote criminal elements do those bad things, then take decisive force against them. Use decisive, justifiable, just, and righteous force against people who are going to use weapons in a haphazard and deadly way, leaving victims in their wake. That's what you do. You don't try to preempt it by criminalizing people who own those weapons when they haven't done anything wrong.
So I think those are issues that most Americans believe we have got to deal with, and we can. Fourthly, I happen to believe, and I believe this for 30 years, that we should not be selling or distributing assault weapons in this country. They are weapons of mass destruction in a sense. They kill people rapidly, as we saw. And thank God, by the way, when we talk about both Dayton and El Paso, thank God, cops were there very, very quickly and did an incredible job.
Okay, so just to recap, he does not think it should be permissible to sell these weapons of mass destruction. Do you guys realize that with the proper magazine, you can kill just as many people, maybe not as efficiently, but just as many people with a handgun or a couple handguns? Just look at the Virginia Tech shooting. 2 guns, boom, boom, just blowing people away. High body count, didn't use a rifle. Doesn't have to be a rifle. So really what they're saying is they want to start with the rifle. They want to piecemeal this thing. And if you give away your rights incrementally, then one day you wake up and go, oh my God, I shouldn't have given the first right away. And now here I am. And now we're at the point of no return. I've given all my power over to some psychopath. And now there's nothing really I can do about it. There is something, but people just get in that mindset. So what they're doing is they're taking they're not content, guys, with, oh, it's just the rifle. Sure. I don't even have an AR-15. Yeah, sure. Ban that thing. It's bump stock bans. And then they're going to say, well, you got a universal background check. And then it's, oh, well, how about the AK-47? Can you give us that? Yeah, just take those off the street. Can't buy or sell those. If you buy or sell an AK-47, is what they're saying is you disobeyed my rule. And if you disobey Bernie's rule, then you shall be punished. So basically, what if I resist being punished? What if I defend myself? Well, then we're gonna send men with guns to your house and we're gonna shoot you down. Wait a second, you're gonna use gun violence against me to enforce your law that's supposed to be there to get rid of gun violence? That's how ridiculous this whole thing is. And that's why I want you guys to share this video, because most people don't look at it like that. It's just using reason and logic and just getting to the bottom of it. Just cutting to the truth, cutting to the chase.
So that guy had walked into the nightclub. There could have been dozens and dozens more people killed within a few minutes' time. Yeah,
but what if one of those guys in the nightclub was armed and he knew how to use his weapon and he could take that gunman down? You wouldn't have to wait for the police. What's the response time for police? Even if it's 30 seconds or a minute, they're like, oh God, thank God the police got there in 30 seconds or a minute. Geez, can you imagine there'd be more than 20 people dead? What if your response time was 0? What if, as soon as the first shot was fired, some concealed carrier gets behind the bar, positions himself, takes maybe 5, 7 seconds. I've locked him in, got him, boom, pull the trigger, he's dead. Response time, 7 seconds. What cop's going to do that unless he's actually on the premises? These people do not use their noodles, guys. They do not use their noodles. The answer to quote unquote gun violence is to have armed, peaceful citizens. Not citizens, peaceful people who want justice, that know how to use a weapon, that know how to fire a weapon, that know how to eliminate the threat.
I happen to believe, that we should not be selling or distributing assault weapons in this country. That's my view.
Yeah, his view is tyranny. That is utter tyranny.
Period. So I believe in a ban on assault weapons, and I think we have.
Okay, now when I believe in a ban on assault weapons, so Bernie's saying if you own assault weapons, well, I don't want you to have them. And Joe's going to deal with this, but he doesn't go all the way with it. He doesn't even go halfway across the pond with it. You need to like in this kind of stuff, you need to grab Bernie Sanders by his ankles, metaphorically, YouTube, metaphorically, grab him and just roll him across the gravel and go, what about this, Bernie? Did you ever stop and consider, Bernie, that there are peaceful people? And Joe's going to say this. You'll hear him say this. But he completely drops the ball when he says it, and he just rolls over like a wet little dish rag. I got no respect and no patience for somebody like that, because the time is over where we compromise. The time is over where we whisper sweet nothings into our ears and just give away just a little bit more of our rights and trust the politicians. They know what's best for us. It's okay. No, that's gone. The door is closed. The window of opportunity for that is gone. It's over. No compromise ever again from this point forward. Period. You ain't getting them, Bernie. Hang it up. So when you ban something, you are literally, with that ban, as soon as that's written, as soon as that legislative magical process and pixie dust is sprinkled on it, you, in the eyes of the state, become a criminal if you own the weapons that he wants banned. You become a criminal in the eyes of the state. Not a real criminal, mind you, because real criminals lead real victims. Real criminals transgress the natural law. Real criminals go against people's will, and without their consent, they hurt them or harm them in some way or steal their stuff. I'm describing politicians. That's a real criminal. You want to see a real criminal? Bernie Sanders, you're looking at him. Ted Cruz, you're like any politician, fill in the blank, Elizabeth Warren, it doesn't matter. Any politician is a criminal because they want to initiate criminal acts on you if you don't obey their laws. You haven't left a victim, but they don't want you to have that object. They're doing that in London right now. You can't own knives. They're calling it knife control. I'm not kidding. They're calling it. They are in London. They're calling it knife crime. And if you're from London right here, you can just validate what I say. Weigh in on the chats here. Let's get back to Bernie. So he's wanting a ban on these assault weapons. So if you're an owner of this quote unquote assault weapon, an AR-15, AK-47, whatever, any kind of style weapon like that, Bernie wants you to be criminalized. And if you don't obey his laws, he's going to throw your ass in a cage and take away all of your freedom, 100% of your freedom.
Got to begin thinking about when we have 5 to 10 million assault weapons, which is more than the U.S. military has. We have to think about a strong licensing procedure in terms of who owns these assault weapons. So that,
by the way, license, that word license is a euphemism. You know what the word for license is? It's control. It's a permission slip. A license is if you have a fishing license or a hunting license, that's a permission slip. You're basically saying, government, can I fish? Well, give me $15 or $17.50 or whatever it is now. Yeah, give me money, and I will give you a right that you already had before you paid me the money anyway. It's a scam. Licensing is a scam. Registration is a scam. It's basically an agent of government saying, I'm going to take away from you your right. Oh, but you're going to pay me some money? Okay, give me $20 or $50 or whatever the licensing fee is for hunting, fishing, registering your car or whatever. And then they give you back the right that they took from you. But now that you gave them money, it's kind of like carbon credits. Oh yeah, you can pollute the atmosphere all you want, but you got to pay me. So they don't really care about the environment. They care about they care about the Benjamins. They care about the money, see? They want the money. It's about the money. It's about control. It's about you. There's two things. Licensing extracts power from you because you have to ask permission from the government, and it takes your wealth. So there's a theft that occurred, a theft of your rights and a theft of your wealth. And if we catch you fishing without this permission slip, guess what we're going to do to you? We're going to literally fine you. And if you resist the fine, we'll throw your ass in jail. If you resist having your ass thrown in jail, we're going to have men with guns come to your house and initiate what they would call gun violence on you. It's all this circular cyclical thing. And it's literally sick. It's sick in the head. You have to be sick in the head to sign on the dotted line for this. It's all a bunch of BS. BS. BS burn. BS doesn't stand for Bernie Sanders. It stands for, you know what it stands for. All right, here we go.
Some of what I think, and there are many other things, but those are some of the ideas that are out there.
Now, the legal gun owners who are...
Okay, listen to Joe, guys. Listen, he's going to talk about the legal gun owners. First of all, that's a misnomer. No such thing as a legal gun owner. In other words, the state approved gun owners. If you own a gun, you're not illegal. Don't call yourself a legal gun owner. Don't call yourself a law-abiding citizen. That does not make you a moral person. You're not a good person because you're a law-abider. Oh, what makes you good, little Johnny? Well, I obey the rules and commands of politicians. Oh, you're a good little law-abider. That's a good little boy. Carry on about your business and continue to be a little brainless order follower. Do exactly what they say. Yeah, exactly, Wilson. It's slavery because government is slavery. Governo mentis, mind control, to control the mind. Exactly. Run along now. Yep. Outlaw. All right, listen to Joe Rogan. This is the part right here. Yeah, you're right. You're right. He is twisted. Listen to Joe. This is insidious, guys. This is detestable in the nostrils of those who care about justice and truth and righteousness.
Law-abiding citizens who would never in a million years think about going around shooting people, but they love guns. They hear this kind of stuff about like banning assault rifles, banning assault weapons. They don't even like the term assault weapons. They like to refer to them as their individual names for whatever they are. These people feel like this is an inexorable part of being an American, that you should be able to own a gun. It's written into our Bill of Rights. It's written into our the way this country was founded. It's the Second Amendment. What do you say to those people that don't want to give up their guns, but they wouldn't do, and they want to protect themselves? They feel like these guns are viable options to protect themselves from criminals.
Now, in my opinion, Bernie's answer here is pretty sly. Pretty sly. Listen to this. First of all, I don't like the way Joe set up that question. It would have been a good lead in to let Bernie hang himself, and maybe I would have taken that approach, but to stop there is completely horrible for quote unquote gun rights. Yeah. Not gun lovers, freedom lovers. Very good. Who said that? None of your business. Yeah, exactly. It's not about loving guns. It's really not. They can call you gun nut, gun lover, whatever. It's not about loving guns. It's about loving and protecting and being vigilant to defend not only your freedom, because when you're out there and you get stopped at a traffic stop, for example, by a cop, you're not just standing up for your freedoms. You're standing up for the freedoms of everybody, because once one freedom by one person is taken away, it makes it that much easier for the next person and the next person. Now you got a whole bunch of people who have their rights taken away, and it's all because everybody incrementally just gave a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. And pretty soon you wake up, not only are you penniless because they squandered all your wealth, but you don't even have any rights. You don't have any freedom. But then you want to make yourself feel good so that at sporting events you go, "Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave." And you are far from brave. You are far from free. It's actually the land of the fee and the home of the slave. That's our reality. That is our reality. So getting back to, I don't want to get too far off the trail here, but Joe's like, what about the gun lovers? What about the people who have those AR-15s? They don't. That's not what they. They're peaceful. Listen to Bernie Sanders.
Joe, as you may know, I am a senator from the state of Vermont, and the state of Vermont is one of the most rural states in America. Every fall, we got whole thousands and thousands of people out in the woods hunting, and it's something that's part of our tradition. I believe in it. I believe in the Second Amendment. But all that I ask
Sorry, I was drinking when he said that. I would have clicked up. He does not believe in that's a lie, man. You do not initiate, you do not want background checks and gun bans and be for the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment says a well regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, Bernie. If you're for background checks, you're against shall not be infringed. If you're for banning anything, I don't care if it's a bump stock that you never heard of, never used, never will use. If you ban anything that's related to what you feel you need to protect yourself, you have completely violated your oath to the Second Amendment. Him saying he's for the Second Amendment is a lie. It's a flat out freaking lie. And the reason Joe Rogan did not call him out in this is because he's got to be politically correct. How you ever going to be popular? If you and I were sitting behind where Joe Rogan is and we said what we're saying right now, that is in line with truth, logic, morality, natural law, completely in harmony and in balance with that. If we said that, we wouldn't be near as popular as Joe Rogan. No way. No way. Because we live in the empire of lies and truth is treason in the empire of lies. So Joe can't say that because he would lose his show. Can you imagine if he held every politician's feet to the fire according to natural law? He would lose his show. Nobody'd ever want to come on his show because they wouldn't want the spotlight of truth to be on him. Bernie Sanders just flat out freaking lied and Joe Rogan did nothing to call him out on it. Nothing. And that really pisses me off, guys. And if you're, I would go so far as to say, if you're not pissed off, check for a pulse. God, am I even alive? Holy crap! Jeez, I'm not even alive. I don't have a conscience. This is unconscionable. Seriously. All right, let's get back to Bernie after he lied about. Oh, I'm for the Second Amendment. Yeah, but you can trust me. I'm from Vermont. We're the most rural area, and I'm for the Second Amendment. Yeah, you. BS. I'm glad his initials are BS because that's exactly what it is.
The governors, and you're absolutely right. 99.9% of governors would never in a million billion years think of doing these horrible things.
But I'm still going to ban their guns for Joe. Bernie actually admitted, yeah, you're right, Joe. 99.9% of them would never think of doing this peaceful. They've never hurt anybody. They've never initiated unjust force and violence on people. But you know what, Joe? I still want to take the guns. I still want to take the guns, Joe. I still want to initiate background checks so we, the government, can make sure that they're not unstable. That's what I'm going to do, Joe. He's a freaking liar. See, in statism, you can't be consistent. You're always going to be caught in the cobwebs of cognitive dissonance because you always have two contradictory things running in your mind. You know what morality is, but you can't come to it. You can't come to morality because you're stuck in the bedrock of immorality and politics and playing the Joe Rogan political correct game where, God, if I turn the white, bright, hot spotlight and I just hit Bernie Sanders with the truth, I would lose my audience. And he would lose his audience. The reason videos like mine, maybe it's because of my hair or, I don't speak as well as Joe Rogan or whatever, but one of the reasons truth channels don't get, high views and, he's got almost 10 million views on this Bernie Sanders thing. Don't tell me that many people like Bernie Sanders because he's popular and lies sell. And deceptions are tantalizing and people gravitate toward it and they're attractive and people feel comforted by the lie. Truth wants to get in there and go, you know what? This is for your own good. It's kind of like your mom. It's like, Joey, I know, I don't have a spoon. Joey, I know that this is bitter, but this is going to help you. Come here, Joey. Come here, Joey. And you just give him the medicine. Truth is like that. It's like, this ain't going to feel very good to you. But you got to get it down in you, and it's going to benefit you for the rest of your life. This Bernie Sanders guy, let's look at it. Let's look at Bernie. Bernie Sanders is a hater of truth. He's a violator of the Second Amendment. He's an oath breaker. Let the world know that Bernie Sanders is an oath breaker, and we're done with oath breakers. Done with them. I'm sick of these guys.
But in the moment that we are living in,
I'm gonna play back what he said because he acknowledged that 99.9% of gun owners are peaceful people. but we still got to initiate unjust force and violence on them. I'm telling you, it's just for the good. It's for the good of humanity. If we don't do this, Joe, the whole world will fall apart.
I'm a senator from the state of Vermont, and the state of Vermont is one of the most rural states in America. Every fall, we've got a whole thousands and thousands of people out in the woods hunting, and it's something that's part of our tradition. I believe in it. I believe in the Second Amendment. But all that I ask of the gun owners, and you're absolutely right, 99.9% of gun owners would never in a million billion years think of doing these horrible things.
I just got to stop right here, but I'm still going to ban their firearms. And if I catch them with the firearms, they're throwing their asses in jail. God, what hypocrisy.
But in the moment that we are living in, I think that we're all going to have to make, some concessions to the reality of what is going on, and that is that there is a small number of, call them what you want, depraved people who are prepared to do that. In Australia, you remember that.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that BS?
The moment that we are living in, I think that we're all going to have to make, some concessions to the reality of what is going on, and that is that there is a small number of.
You know what he's saying there, right? We're going to have to make concessions because of this reality that's going on. I mean, we got so many mass shootings. I showed you here, let's just do it. Let's just do the math. Let's do the math. I want to put this on video. Let's pull up the calculator and find out. Let's just, oh shoot, I'm on Trish. Hey babe, where's your calculator on your computer? Do you know? Never mind. Anyway, I'll just do it this way. I'll do it this way. I remember the numbers. Let's give them the 40,000 guys. They're saying 40,000 people die as a result of gun violence. You don't want 40,000 people dying as a result of gun violence, do you? 40,000. Let's give them that number. We know it's not 40,000. You got to automatically shave 60% off of that because those are suicides. And even the federal government's own statistics admits that. Actually, it's 61.8. So 62% of those are death by suicide. Somebody grabbed a gun and decided, well, I'm too insane to live. So boom, done, out. But let's give them the 40,000. That dramatically decreases that 40,000, by the way. But let's say 40,000 divided by 327 million people in this country comes out to 0.012% of the population. That is not an epidemic, guys. 0.012%, that's giving them the 40,000 number. 0.012% of the population dies by gun violence. Not even close to the number that cigarettes kill every year, which is 480,000. 480,000 people die from cigarette smoking. Do you think politicians care about you? Hell no. If they cared about you, they'd be out there banning cigarettes, not AR-15s. But they don't ban cigarettes because the tobacco lobby is so big and they get big mucho buco kickbacks from it. Yeah, we could talk about the gun lobby and all that kind of stuff. Just lobbying is just totally wrong. Yeah, just go ahead and put an interested party in charge of a lobby group who puts a whole bunch of money in a politician's pocket so that he can create laws that scratch the back of that lobby movement. I don't care if it's gun or anything. It's just completely immoral because these laws actually hamstring people and criminalize people because the lobby group had more money than the other lobby group. Messed up. It's just top to bottom. That right there is a testimony to get rid of government. You're never going to get rid of the special interest groups. You're never going to get rid of the lobbyists, even no matter how much Bernie Sanders rails against the special interest of big pharma and all this kind of stuff. They're not wanting to get rid of the lobbyist groups because creating laws makes money and it transfers that power. So when Bernie Sanders is sitting there saying that he loves the Second Amendment, no, he doesn't. He's a liar. When he says he cares about that 99.9% who would never in a million years do anything wrong, but I'm still going to create that law that's going to throw their ass in jail. And if they resist me, then I'm going to initiate gun violence. Just be honest, Bernie. And that's what I wish Joe Rogan had said, but he doesn't. So let's go over this again. Let's go over some more of this disgusting guy's rhetoric.
Call them what you want, depraved people who are prepared to do that. In Australia, you remember that terrible, New Zealand, I'm sorry, the terrible shooting at the mosque. And they moved pretty quickly in an aggressive way. So, I wish I can say in the best of all possible worlds, yeah, you can own any weapon you want and so forth and so on. We're not living in the best of all possible worlds. We're living in a world where we're shocked every day by horror.
So what are you saying? Here's if I was Joe Rogan, I'd say, what are you saying, Bernie? Wait a second. Okay, Bernie, hold on. You just said that 99.9% of the people would never dream in a million years of doing anything wrong like that. Never. But you're saying, but we can't let them we still can't let them have it. They would never do anybody harm, but we still can't let them have these weapons. You've got to be kidding me. You realize what you're saying? You're actually saying that you want to initiate unjust force and violence on peaceful people who haven't done anything wrong because you believe that's going to make the world safer. And in fact, you're making the world more dangerous because you're putting more lives in jeopardy because you're putting somebody like you, Bernie, who has a monopoly on force and violence because you're a lawmaker, is actually villainizing and vilifying and criminalizing peaceful people who haven't done anything wrong because they own a weapon that you don't want them to have. But Joe's not going to say, he doesn't say that. Rake this guy over the coals.
I agree. We are living in a terrible situation. I mean, there's hundreds of mass shootings a year now, which is insane. And if you look at the number in comparison to the rest of the world, it's crazy. Like a big one in another country, like 3 mass shootings in a year. We had more than 270. It's crazy. But how would you implement something like this?
Well, the idea of banning assault weapons has been done. In 1994, we banned assault weapons. I believe it was for 10 years. That ban was undone by a Republican majority.
Left versus right paradigm right there. We would have never done that because we're Democrats and we care about people. We would have kept that assault weapons ban on there.
And it didn't, I'm not suggesting, by the way, that anything here, that if you banned assault weapons tomorrow, that would radically change everything. But we have got to do the best that we can do.
He just admitted, I'm not saying it would do anything, but we got to do something. We got to do, and the best you can do, Bernie, is initiate unjust force and violence of peaceful, criminalize people who are peaceful, even though they haven't committed a crime other than, if you want to call it a crime, disobeying your law. You see the doublespeak? You see the deception? You see how people can get sucked into this BS?
And again, I preface my remarks by telling you, I don't have a magical solution. You got hundreds of millions of guns out there. You have people who should.
I have a magical solution. Arm and empower people. Tell people, look, government's not going to come and help you. I have a seemingly magical solution. Tell people, here's the deal. You got to get familiar with firearms because the government ain't going to step in and help you because we can't. And one thing we don't want is initiate unjust force and violence against you. So you're kind of on your own. So it's a sink or swim scenario. You know how they used to teach me kids in my neighborhood how to swim? Their dad took them in a boat in the middle of the pond and threw them out and said, if you don't make it back to the boat, hey, I guess, can we give your bed to your brother? I guess there's going to be more to eat for supper tonight. It's like, look, dude, this is how life is. It's tough. There are criminals out there. They're going to get firearms and they're going to want to break into your house. Do you know how many break-ins there were in 2017? Shoot, I forget the number. It's so high. It's like 3.5 million. And of those, like 60% were armed. And, a bunch of people out of that, like 40% of those got, seriously injured during the break-in. How would it be if a politician, well, he wouldn't be a politician, just got up there and said, you know what? Government ain't going to help you. Police ain't going to save you. There's no hero. This ain't a movie. You're going to have to take care of yourself. So what you want to do is this. The criminals are going to be armed, so you should be armed to the teeth. And you need to learn how to use your weapon. You're going to be a danger to yourself and others if you start, looking down the barrel of the gun and going, is this thing clean? I don't know if it's clean. We don't want you to hurt yourself. Then there's nothing we can do about that either. If you hurt yourself, you hurt yourself. We're not going to come and help you. The magic solution is the empowerment of those people in that nightclub, the empowerment of those people sitting in the pews of that church, the empowerment of those people standing in line at that post office, the empowerment of that teacher in that school who's teaching those kids. I'm a teacher. I just teach history. I don't want a gun. I bet you change your tune if you were in one of those school rooms and the gunman was coming down the hall and your room was next, but maybe not. Maybe people are just that far gone that they just want to roll over and die, and there's no survival of the fittest left inside of them. Maybe that's just the world we live in. But the magic solution to this whole thing is empower yourself with the easiest way possible. Grab a gun. Or like Joe Biden said, buy a shotgun. Buy a shotgun. All right. All right, here we go. Another. Here's Bernie. Here's Bernie. Are we good, guys? Let me know. I don't want to. Are we good? Are we good? We good? Okay.
Not be owning these guns, get set off by God knows what, and do terrible things. All we can do is the best that we can do, but to say we can't do anything, I think is a real disservice to the American. Now, I'll tell you something else that bothers me, in addition to the horror of seeing people lying on the street dead, is what this is doing to the children of this country. And I think
got to bring in the children. Got to bring in the children. Got to feed the children. Got to take care of the children. If you want to take care of the children, empower yourself. There's no better way to take care of a child than that adult, that overseer of that child, that parent of that child, empower themselves. That teacher, if we're going to have a public school system, empower them. Go get behind me, kids. I got my AR-15 here. Let me grab it from my locker. Whatever they decide to do. I see the whites of that guy's eyes. I'm blowing him away right through that schoolroom door. Boom. Done. Taken care of. Okay, now you can call 911. How many body bags do we need? Oh, 3. Okay, they're in the hallway. They're bleeding out right now. Take your time. I am not kidding. The people who blow these, if these things are happening, these alleged school shootings, that's how you should handle them. The only time I don't dial 911 first, said the teacher, the first grade teacher. I dialed 357. I dialed 1911. I didn't dial 911. I dialed 815. Get behind me, kids. I see the whites of that guy's eyes. He's gone. He's gone. We gonna do a dance on his body. Yeah, 911. Yeah, we got 3 bleeding out in hallway 6. Come on, get him. I'm in room 13. Yeah, I'll be teaching history class. We're just gonna resume. Ain't no big deal here. Ain't nobody throwing desks through windows and taking off their shirts so we can get through without getting cut. We don't play that game. Yeah. The teacher in room number 9, her and her kids they didn't make it. Yeah. Ethel always was a prude. Yeah, she always said, I teach algebra, I teach arithmetic, I don't need a gun. Well, guess what? She gone, I'm alive. Bring them body bags, hurry up, the flies are swarming. All right, bye. That's how it should be, man. You know why I'm making light of this? Because people who freaking empower themselves, they take down the threat, man. Bunch of cowards. Let's read some of these things. Mathematics of guns. That's right. Yep, pretty much. She gone, man. She gone. And I don't care about that. We didn't need that that surveillance equipment to keep an eye on us. All I need is my trusty AR-15. Ain't she a beaut? Oh, scary and black? What are you, racist? That's a scary black AR-15 assault style rifle that needs to be on the battlefield. It does not need to be in our classrooms. Get that thing out of here. I'm sorry, I'm stroking this thing. You ain't taking my gun out of my hand. This one just saved me and my kids. Saved our bacon. It did. God. I can let my hair down around you guys, obviously, right? Insert laugh track. Black rifles matter. They really do. Stop being a racist. Get a black rifle. That's actually, it's probably a Freudian slip. The reason these politicians are all against black rifles is because they're all racist. Every one of them. Dang nabbit. All right, let's go, Burn. Give us some more BS.
Underestimate that. I have 7 grandchildren. And for them and for kids all over this country, you're going to see the fall's coming, kids coming back to school. You're going to see in schools all over America drills. All right, this is what you do if somebody walks into the school. All right, you're going to hide under here. You go over there. Kids, a couple of months ago, I was in Iowa. This guy is about 6'2", big guy, probably a football player. And he says, Senator Sanders, I got to tell you that the young people in my school are increasingly frightened, terrified about what could happen in the school. Think about what this...
You know what this is, guys? This is predictive programming. I bet kids really aren't like that. They're like, God, I hope I don't fail my test. Jeez, that lunch sucks. I hope mom packed a good sandwich. Jeez, they're thinking about, oh, I really like that girl. I'm sure they're sitting there going, oh God, I hope the gunman doesn't come in. This is all just psychological operations, predictive programming. He's actually trying to put fear in people's minds. It's like people are looking at it going, we don't fear here in, I don't know, name a school. I don't know if there's any public schools that, allow teachers to carry. I think there was an article I read one time. I can't remember what state it was, but I think they were armed and they've never had any kind of shooting or any kind of problem. Like I said, when I was in school, the people who were hunters, you could tell they came in their pickup trucks and they had the gun in their gun rack in the back of the truck. It was on school property during school hours. That's how it was. When my mom and dad were kids, they'd have their guns in the back by the galoshes and the coats, man. They'd pick them up and everything was cool. No mass shootings back then. People were different back then. People actually, cared about other people. They defended themselves and others. It was a totally different world.
The trauma of what this gun violence is doing. So I think we're all, as Americans, there ain't no easy answers here, but I think we're all going to have to come together and figure this one out and do the best that we can.
No.
Yeah, and so before we get back to Joe Rogan, I'm gonna deal with some super chats here. I don't want to leave your super chats hanging. By the way, guys, I really appreciate your all your comments and all your support. I really, really appreciate it. It means a lot. DMP Killas says you should go on Tinfoil Hat Podcast. Wait a second. Let me refresh this. We'll get to what Joe Rogan says here in a second. It's really brain dead and retarded. And Joe Rogan, I challenge you to come on my live stream and give an account for how you deal with these politicians. And why don't you stand for liberty? Just take a stand, man. Take a stand for liberty. Very easy to do, but it's not easy to do. Who was that? Upton Sinclair said, it's hard to get somebody to come to the truth when their occupation depends and their paycheck depends on them not coming to the truth. If they're incentivized to not come to the truth and stand for individual rights, they're not going to come because they would way rather have that paycheck. They would way rather have that prestige. They way rather not give up their fame than actually take a stand for something that really means something. Stand on the firm ground of morality. Stand on the firm ground of individual rights. When you do that, you automatically become super consistent, super moral. That's this. It's like it's this far and no more. This is the line I draw, and it's not in the sand. It's cemented in concrete. Long ago, I made this decision to stand where I'm standing right now, and I ain't budging. And no amount of money you could ever give me would make me back off of that. Why don't we just do that? It seems like it's pretty easy. All right. John Van says, I give you $2 a month so you can buy some coffee. Thanks, man. DMP Killa says, you should go on Tinfoil Hat Podcast. I'll look that up. Send me a link, maybe a link in the chat right here, and I'll look that up. Bones, XLS Bones says, we were silent when Waco happened. Yep, we were. Then asleep when the Patriot Act happened. Yep, and that's how it happens. You realize how many people died in Waco? Innocent people. Yeah, Branch Davidians, whatever, crazy, whatever. They didn't harm anybody. They didn't threaten to harm anybody. But we were okay as a nation watching the cameras are surrounding the compound, the FBI, the ATF, the helicopters flying around, the tank going in there, just bombing stuff, burning that thing to the ground. 76 people burned to death, and a lot of those were kids. You think the government cares about kids? No, they burn them alive. You go against, oh, we heard you got stockpiles of weapons. So? You're not harmed. You can have a tank, a Huey, a helicopter, an Apache. If you can afford it, just park it in the Branch Davidian cult compound. You didn't do anything wrong. No, you can't have that. That's military grade equipment. But I didn't commit a crime. I didn't leave a victim. So what are you here for? Goodbye. Get out of my face. Julie Collier, thank you for the super chats. Thank you, XLX Bones. XLX Bones does another super chat. He says, in every tour I had in Iraq, a true AK was allowed per household, yet we Americans with rights aren't allowed. This is hogwash. Call your reps. It is hogwash. It's total hogwash. We just need to stand together, guys. That's all it's going to take. It's just logical, morally based people standing together and saying, I'm sorry, I don't recognize your authority, Mr. Politician. Sorry, I don't recognize your authority, Mr. Rights trampling law enforcer. Go away from me, Mr. Oathbreaker. I don't need you. We don't need you. Justin Toth Truth says, hey, thanks for your educating me on our money and oil. Hey, no problem, man. I need to try to find that money that if you're referring to the petrodollar video, I need to unearth that and re-upload it because that was taken down with my old channel. And learning me on what actual freedom looks like. I owe you way more than this crappy $10, but it's what I got. Learning about my flood too. Rest is coming. A reset coming. Yeah, a reset is coming. I agree. Thanks, Justin. I really appreciate that. That's super humbling. Keep up the great work, Brian, says Cairo. Thank you. Appreciate the super chat. Ann Reyes says, we need to help spread truth. Please, guys, thumbs up. Thank you, Brian. Socialism kills. Hashtag socialism kills. That's right. It does. Why does socialism kill? Because it's the immoral distribution of wealth. It's the taking of wealth from one group of people and giving it to another group of people. And it's the taking by force, by the way. In socialism, you don't have a chance. It's like you obey or go to jail. Oh, resist going to jail and die. That's what's wrong with socialism. Socialism is essentially fundamentally evil, period. Socialism, communism, Marxism, it's all based on the same premise of the initiation of unjust force on peaceful people who haven't done anything wrong. And you don't really have to get into the nuts and bolts of what it's really all about or memorize these big, dictionary definitions of what socialism, what's the difference? But that's not socialism, that's communism, technically. Well, you know what? Technically, it's the initiation of unjust force and violence on peaceful people who haven't done anything wrong. Technically, it's fundamentally immoral. What else do I really need to know? I don't need to get stuck in the minutia of all these crazy, shades of meaning. The bottom line is a man with a gun or men with guns will come to your house and take you and your family down if you don't submit to their commands, period. That's what socialism, communism, and Marxism is. Obey or else, period. All right, so I agree, Anna Reyes. I agree. Socialism kills. Bones again. Thanks, man. I appreciate the reaching out and the support. I got an Article 15 for refusing a direct order to disarm Americans during Katrina in New Orleans. Oh man, you were there. That I would want to talk to you, man, about that. If you guys know anything about what happened in Hurricane Katrina, basically they declared martial law. And the military went in there going house to house, making sure people were disarmed while bands of marauders were traveling around stealing people's stuff. So these homeowners were staying in their houses fully armed and just stocked, rocked, ready. What does Nugent say, babe? Cocked, locked, and ready to rock, Doc. I mean, they were fully armed and the military was coming to their house, military police, and disarming them and arresting them. I got an Article 15 for refusing a direct order to disarm Americans, Bones says, during Katrina in New Orleans. Mind you, I was regular Army, 1/5 Cavalry, 2 BDE, 1st Cavalry, 1st Cav. I don't know what Cav means. But that's a guy right there, guys. Bones is a guy right there who says, guess what? I am not violating the Second Amendment. You can't make me do it. And then he gets slapped with an Article 15. Give me a break, man. I hats off to you for doing that, man. Julia Hunt, thank you. Eagle Eyes says, we are dealing with a den of Kabbalistic Mason Eastern Star Vipers in DC, MSM, Hollywood, etc. Free Schaefer Cox. I do not argue with anything you said. Exactly. Yeah, and free Schaefer Cox. If you don't know who Schaefer Cox is, I'll try to remember after this video processes to leave a link to the Schaefer Cox video I did, because there could be a possibility that if enough people get together and there's enough interest in this, we could free that guy from the freaking dungeon he's in after having done nothing wrong. The guy's a true patriot, and he was calling BS and exposing the pedophilia that was going on inside of the government in Alaska. That's the long and the short of it right there. Sig Sauer Gunner says, they're afraid of all of us, Brian. The dots, Larkin Rose. Yeah, the tiny dot. I might do a video on that. And I've reached out to Larkin Rose, see if he wants to do a live stream. He's been pretty busy though, so we'll see what happens in the future. They must stop speaking for us. The threat of being caged, disarmed, or killed by them is old. Yep, it's getting real old. Thanks, Sig Sauer Gunner. I appreciate it. D Drag the Red. The largest root behind all this evil is the hidden truth of 9/11 and the pure evil hidden. Yeah, I agree. part of it, because even before 9/11 they were still foisting this stuff on us. But I agree, it talk about throwing a whole bunch of gas on an already lit fire when they initiated the Patriot Act and the Department of Homeland Security, which was part of the Patriot Act, and then TSA, and just taking away our rights willy-nilly everywhere. Fourth Amendment just out the window. To break this evil, 9/11 must be avenged by truth with a godly spirit. The more we allow this to stand, the worse it will get. Yep. I totally agree. Carry that was D Drag the Red, and Carry the Torch says stock up on food, bullets, fuel, water filtration. Have a plan for your family. Peace and good luck, my friends. Oh yeah, and heirloom seeds. Yeah, gotta stay away from GMOs. Thanks, Carry the Torch. Pale Rider Bear. Bernie calls the mythical assault rifle a weapon of mass destruction. That's supremely ironic because I seriously can think of a more honest and accurate name for government. Government is the actual WMD. Exactly. Pale Rider Bear. Thanks, man. Terry Vide or VIE or VLED. I don't know my other VIED, I think. Terry Vide had a gun cleaning rag like that toupee. Had to throw it away. Hole was too big. All right, I'm caught up on the super chats. I want to get to what Joe said now, what Joe says in response to what Bernie just said. So let's go. Hope everybody's doing okay. All right, listen to Joe.
Oh, would that mean forcibly removing these guns from people's homes?
I don't think you're going to have the FBI knocking on somebody's doors and taking it. That's not what we do in America. You don't
we have 4 million guns already out there, and they're building more every year. Right now, as we speak, gun manufacturers are making more guns. This is happening right now. So if those guns already exist, it's more than enough.
Oh yeah.
How would you stop?
Well, again, I think. Look.
Wait a second. Glossing over that. I missed that in the gym. Hold on. Rewind. Say that question again. What?
That's the weekend.
No. Would that mean forcibly removing these guns from people's homes?
I don't think you're going to.
Would what mean? The gun ban? Of course it would. If the authorities, quote unquote, I'm using that in quotes, guys, the authorities or quote unquote the officials know that if they learn that you have an AR or an AK in your house, of course they're going to come to your house and get a warrant and go through your stuff and grab those weapons. Of course they're going to do that. That's what a gun ban is all about. And Bernie just lied here. And Joe didn't hold his feet to the fire on it. BS, man. That is such BS. Hold on, I don't know if you hear my dog at my feet. He's rooting around like he's a pig. Babe, can you get Dakota, babe? He's sure is distracting, that cute little guy. Okay, here we go. Listen to this.
FBI knocking on somebody's doors and taking it. That's not what we do in America. You don't come.
Yes, we do. We did. That is exactly what they do in America. When a politician makes a law enforcement is expected to carry it out. That is just a bold-faced lie. And for Joe to let him away with this, you have to hold your feet. Then okay, wait a second. So if you're not going to enforce this, why are you going to make the law? If you're going to make this law, but you're not going to enforce it, then why would anybody want to comply with it? Because there's no punishment for that law. Hold his feet to the fire, Joe. This is bull. You don't let something like that slide. Wait a minute. You just said you're gonna ban the AK-47, AR-15, all these assault rifles, whatever they are, whatever you think an assault rifle is. And then you got all these gun owners who are peaceful people who have these very weapons that you say they shouldn't have. And your law is going to say, if you're caught having it, you know how it always is. It's the same old drill: 5 years in prison, or $5,000 fine, or 10 years in prison, $10,000 fine, whatever it is. And he said, that's not the way we do it in this country. Yes, it is. That is the way. What do you mean? They're shaking us down every time you go to an airport, any place in America. Of course, that's the way we do things in America. The ATF showed up at Waco's doorstep and burned a bunch of kids. That's not the way we do things in America. Yeah, it is. The politician makes the law and the law enforcer carries out the law. You don't let law break. They'll do that much and more to somebody who wants to keep all of his income, let alone have a assault style rifle. If you don't pay the IRS what they say that you should pay them, men will be knocking at your door and say, why didn't you pay us? F off, they would say. Well, you're going down with us. Put your hands above your head. Don't make any sudden movements. Take the cuff, put the cuffs on him. That's not the way we do things in America. Bernie, you just lied, Joe should have said. Bernie, you just lied. Then what good is your gun ban if you're not going to enforce it? Give me a break.
400 million guns already out there, and they're building more every year. Right now, as we speak, gun manufacturers are making more guns. This is happening right now. So if those guns already exist, there's more than enough.
Oh, yeah.
How would you stop?
Well, again, I think, look, I do think there should be a ban on assault weapons. So that means that manufacturers...
He just said it again. He's a walking inconsistency.
Not be able to produce or sell those weapons.
To American citizens, but not to the military, obviously.
Right, obviously.
Yeah.
Okay.
Obviously, you can sell it to the military. What? Joe, what did you say? What did you say? Come on.
So that means that manufacturers would not be able to produce or sell those weapons.
To American citizens, but not to the military, obviously.
Right, obviously.
Yeah.
Okay, now that right there says Bernie's a warmonger. No, first of all, Bernie said no. We're gonna ban the manufacture of these weapons, and then Joe clarifies and says, but not to the military. Oh no, of course not. No. Yeah, of course they're excluded. So you're a warmonger. You're a warmonger, Bernie. You're basically saying, oh no, the gun manufacturers can stay in business for the military-industrial complex, but they can't stay in business for the American people. That right there is a traitor, guys. That is literally the definition of a traitor. We want the military-industrial complex to be armed, but we don't want Americans to be armed. We don't want the military-industrial complex to have anything less than what would beat their enemies, but we don't mind American people having much less than what could defeat their enemies because we know the criminals are going to get guns. And Joe's not going to call them out on this. The BS is so deep, I should have wore my hip waders before we started this live stream.
And your point is well taken. If you got 400 million guns out there, So I think there are approaches. No one has any magical solution, but I'll tell you something else that I didn't mention, and that is the role of gun manufacturers. Is that if you are a gun manufacturer and you are selling a hell of a lot of guns to a gun store in an area which normally you not, these guys know, what cities buy, what towns buy, how many guns. And if suddenly there is a tremendous demand, you got to be thinking why is this gun store buying so many guns? Doesn't reflect the population in the area. You got to deal with that issue with the gun owners who have to take some responsibility.
So the gun owners have to take responsibility if an area ups its demand for guns in a particular area. And what Bernie's actually saying is we're going to make a regulation that demands that those gun manufacturers valve off the sale of guns in that area. So what you have here is price fixing, market fixing. The government will never be content with a free market because it always has to put its monopolized hands in a cookie jar, always. And it will always take the lion's share for itself, for its survival.
Besides the guns.
The gun manufacturers,
right,
I'm sorry.
Right. Besides the guns and gun manufacturers, the other gigantic issue is mental health. Yeah. The only way any of this ever happens is someone has to be in.
Anyway, the rest of this, they just go over mental health, and I just wanted to deal with gun issues. So what are your guys' thoughts? Let's read some comments here. I want you guys to weigh in. That's why I wanted to do this with you guys, just to see what you guys had to say. Nancy says hypocrisy is rampant. Remind Bernie to change his diaper, a bad guy says. Specifically, what do you think about what Joe Rogan? Let's just be a little bit more directed here. What do you think about what Joe Rogan says, his contribution to this conversation? How do you think he did? What questions do you think he should have asked? Fork says no standing army. That's it's the Third Amendment. He's got no balls, says Elijah. I agree because A person who has balls is going to stand for individual rights. I don't give a damn what politician is across the desk from him. He's going to stand on individual rights, and he's going to hold that politician's feet to the fire in this conversation on the Second Amendment. Well, Bernie, how is what you're doing consistent with shall not be infringed? Because it does say shall not be infringed. And you do realize that the forefathers were here and they heard you suggesting that there be any infringement on what they wrote down. They'd probably tar and feather your ass, Bernie. You know, that's quite honestly, that's what they intended with the Second Amendment, is to be armed against a tyrannical government. You realize that, right, Bernie? Bernie only wants, oh shoot, I just lost that one. Rogan gets churned out for popularity. He needs an assault calm that is hilarious. Let's see. No one talks about black on black gun violence numbered in the thousands. Yeah, in this conversation, I want to just kind of stay with guns and what Joe Rogan said. Joe Rogan is a shill. High impact versus Bernie. Yeah, Bernie Sanders. If you'd like to come on a live stream, I know I don't have near the audience of Joe, but if you want to answer some real questions from somebody who really is for individual freedoms and champions the cause of freedom for Americans, okay, come on my show. And Joe, I welcome you on the show. It's so easy to get on these shows and just acquiesce. Because you know when you acquiesce, you're going to be way more popular just right off the bat. If you go against the grain, if you start walking in a different direction the whole crowd is walking in, you automatically become a black sheep. You're a conspiracy theory because they want to cut off any kind of dissenting voice by making them look bad. And that's what it is. That's what calling somebody a conspiracy theorist does. It just cuts off the conversation because automatically I have declared you to be somewhat insane, so you're not worthy to have a conversation with. Wow, that was easy. That was so easy. Yeah, Alan, shall not be infringed, period. Techno Logic says Bernie is a walking and talking joke, and Toe Rogan is just a shit to stay on YouTube. And I have to say I agree with you. And the reason I'm saying he's a shill, and it's more. It's for me, it's not so much what or who he's shilling for. We know he's in it for the money. We know that when people get they get blinded by their fat pocketbook and their big house and their nice car and their comfortable lifestyle, they have this tendency to not really be interested in the truth. But for me, it's not as much what he's shilling for, it's what he's shilling against. And we can look at, and the reason I like that road is because you can see it objectively in a video like this. He completely shilled against liberty. He completely shilled against the Second Amendment. He completely shilled for politics and for Bernie Sanders, didn't hold his feet to the fire, which does nobody any good. When you don't bring a thought to the table that challenges the people at the table, you haven't really brought a thought. You've brought nothing worth anything. As a matter of fact, everything that he said was completely counterproductive and somewhat akin to cancer, I would say, in my book, my opinion. Bernie can eat poop turds. Brian says that's why I quit listening to Rogan. He needs to be in a retirement home for real. Joe is compromised. Joe voted for Hillary. Really? I didn't know that. Joe voted for Hillary Clinton? I did not know that. I didn't know that. Makes sense. I mean, who else would he have voted for? I don't know. Shills. Texans will boycott Walmart. Rogan is owned. I got to agree with you, man. Lex, I got to agree with you. Joe says he's left-leaning. I can't stand the left versus right paradigm, guys. Pale Rider Bear, thanks. Pale Rider Bear says government, law, and policy is the delusion that mere mortal men can change and eliminate the unchangeable facts and risks inherent to living life as human beings. Good point. Politicians truly believe they're superhuman. That was a good message, man. That is absolutely, politicians literally, when you look at their actions, are acting like they are gods. and they will create the commandments that come down on high, and you must obey them. I could not agree with you more. I saw another, thanks, Pale Rider Bear. And I saw another super chat. Let's see, I don't want to miss that. Guys, if I ever miss one of your super chats, it is not personal. It's just because I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer, especially as far as technology is concerned. Hunter Vex says your hair might be better looking than your wife's. I don't know about that. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Did you hear that, babe?
Yes.
That's so funny. All right. Yeah, JD50. Always carry, man. Why not? It's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. I agree. Always carry, says JD50. That's, oh wow, that's really backed up there. I'm more up to date on my computer screen than I am on the wow, that's a lot of comments. Yeah, guys, if you don't mind, take a second to hit that like button. Maybe we can get the 379 above the 452 right here in the room. It seriously, guys, it really does help. It helps with the algorithms. I've seen it help. And it really helps when the video gets done processing. If you can share this, if you thought it was valuable enough to share, please don't share it and don't like it if you didn't like it and you didn't think it was shareable. But if you think somebody could really benefit from this, I know there's a lot of Joe Rogan groupies. A lot of people follow that guy, and I see why. He's entertaining. He has interesting guests on. Smash the like button. Thanks, Red Comics. I appreciate it. Anybody want to deal with anything else before I cut out? We're at an hour and 30 here. I don't want to really go too much longer. I notice if it goes too long, there's too many breaks in here, people tend to fall off. Sanders 2020, it's time. Share this with the Bernie Sanders, a Bernie bro. Why am I against Bernie Sanders? Why am I against Kamala Harris? Why am I against Tulsi Gabbard? I'm against them because the springboard for their platform it rests completely and solely and is entrenched and intertwined with immorality. They believe that they are gods, that they can create these commands. And if you don't obey these commands, then you're a criminal in the eyes of the state. Anybody who has that viewpoint is your enemy. Anybody. You would not want a next door neighbor like that. You would not want somebody living in your house doing what politicians want to do to you all the time. Obey my laws or I'm going to hurt you. Obey my laws or I'm going to take your stuff. Obey my laws or I'm going to lock your family up in prison. Nobody treats. That's not the way a human being should act with another human being. That's why I'm against politics. That's why I'm against government. That's why I'm against what Joe Rogan did with Bernie Sanders. That's why I'm against everything Bernie Sanders is for. That's why I'm against an Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. That's why I'm against a Donald Trump. It's craziness. It's literal insanity. That's why I'm against Laura Ingraham and Sean Hannity, and I'll call out Fox News, guys. It's about when you submit yourself in the left versus right paradigm, you really literally have to trample on truth to do it. You really do. And you're free when you just go by the truth. When it's like, you know what, if this doesn't line up with the truth, and I know sometimes things get muddled, and sometimes it's hard to find the truth, and you don't know who's telling the truth or who's not. There's always 2 sides, 3 sides, 4 sides to every coin and every story, and you got to weigh things, and it's hard because things, especially in this internet technology age, things can come at you hard and heavy all the time. But if you look at mainstream media, like, for example, I don't care what it is. I'll listen to it because I want to filter it through the lens of truth. Is this really first of all, does this line up with morality? Does this line up with truth? Is this tooting the horn of the left versus right paradigm? Is this in the tank for statism or is this against statism? Is this for liberty? Is this going to take away our rights? There's just all these things. Is this going to take away more money? That's another thing about Bernie Sanders. Universal health care. Who's going to pay for it? You have to steal money for that plan. And if you got to steal money for it, guess what? It's not a good plan. It's not a good plan. Statism is not a good plan. Stealing money from people, hurting them because they don't follow your rules, not a good plan. Hurting people because they initiated an unjust force and violence to peaceful people who haven't done anything wrong, that's a good plan. That right there is going to cleanse society. So that's why I'm against government. And if you think that's crazy, I would question your sanity. If you think it's okay to hurt people because they didn't obey your law, That's crazy business. Crystal Green says an early evening stream would probably be better for my sleep pattern. Lots of love from the UK. Okay. I honestly was trying to get started earlier today, guys, but my tech issues were just no good. Is everybody okay with this live streaming on my mobile, my cell phone, until I get everything cleared away? I know there's no bells and whistles, and I don't have the boxes and all the tickers going and stuff, but I figure the information is more important than anything. If it works for you, it works for me. Hey, what's up, Snapzilla Gorilla? Corey Dalton says Rogan says leftist except for the Second Amendment. Well, he didn't show that tonight. He is against the Second Amendment. He let you can't be for the Second Amendment and let somebody like Bernie slide with what Joe Rogan let Bernie slide with. He didn't vote for Hillary. He voted for Gary Johnson. That's kind of what I thought, but I don't know. I don't know. I met Gary Johnson one time at where was that? Seemed like it was a Ron Paul event in another state, but somebody asked Gary Johnson a question, and it totally revealed his statism and all the people who love liberty. And it was in a pool room, and his back was up against a wall with there was a beer sign behind him. I think I recorded it. I just can't find the recording. And he's leaning up against the wall, and there's a pool table in front of him. Every side of the pool table asking him questions. Can't remember what the question was, but it was perfectly lobbed in his corner, and Gary just answered it. And when he did, he revealed that he was a statist, and all the people I left because I was like, oh, we know what this guy's all about. And a lot of people just left the room because it's like, I thought you were for individual rights. Walter White says, Brian, thanks for the live stream tonight. Hey man, no problem. If you guys want to see, I can do more live streams. It's just I'm the kind of person who I don't like to presume on people. It's like, oh yeah, this would be a good live stream. Like today when my son came with me with that Fox News report where Walmart is not going to sell ammo for handguns anymore, and they request that all patrons who come in their store disarm themselves. I had to give that to you. Like I want to give it to you right then. Breaking news, because I want to get the message of truth in the minds of people before the propaganda starts, man. Because once the propaganda machine starts churning and the psychological operation gets rolling and they grease the rails and they send that puppy down there, man, it's hard to recoup from that. People start going, oh yeah, Walmart should do that. Yeah, that's a really good idea. Disarm. Oh wow, that's a great idea. Your short vids share better. Yeah, I know. That's typically the case. All right, guys, let's go ahead and end this. I really appreciate. Oh, was there one more super chat? Oh yeah, Hunter Vax. I already got that one. Let me just check the super chats one more time. I don't want to leave anybody out. Hunter Vax. Yeah, it's the second time you said that. Your hair might be better looking than your wife's. Thanks. I'll take that as a compliment.
I don't think it is.
Is that a compliment for you, babe? Oh, it's not a compliment. Oh, I guess it could go both ways. All right, guys. Hey, I appreciate you hanging out with me. Share this video. Make sure you give it a thumbs up before you get out of here. And I really appreciate everybody. Make it a good day for yourself tomorrow. Not just for yourself, but for everybody in your zone of influence. And don't forget, this isn't the land of the free, home of the brave. This is the land of the fee and home of the slave. But I think we can turn this thing around. So I appreciate every one of you guys. You guys have a good night.